Well, good morning, everyone. Um, yeah, um, I used a couple of minutes to take opportunity to quickly advertise or bring to your attention and potentially advertise the proceedings we have for the JuliaCon conferences. That's something that was also presented at JuliaCon Global by colleague Luca Ferranti, who is also with me, and a few others, part of the editors. So some of you may know, some of you who never heard about the proceedings. Good. So that's cool. So at least there's some useful infos, I guess. I hope I can bring here. So yeah, we have Julia Conference has its own peer-reviewed open source journal. It's kind of a sister journal of the JOS, Journal of Open Source Software. So we kind of, if you you can check out. We have all the infos online, but basically the aim is to get the work you may present at the Julia conferences about new packages or studies around the Julia language that can be published in an academic journal where one can get the full reference and be able to reference that work also, like that scientists and other researcher could reference your work also in their work, like how it's working in the academic system mostly. So yeah, as I was saying, the motivation behind having the journal is to have be able to publish open source software, to get this peer-reviewed process from the community, most likely to be able to get feedback, improve, and have then a citable reference for your work, and also some archive of the code, like its current practice, such that if you submit something to the proceedings, most likely you will have to store the version you were presenting somewhere on a permanent repository like Zenodo, where you get the DOI, and because that's current good practice in software engineering. So yeah, part of the editors is Luca, Dimitros, Nikos, and myself. We tried to revamp the proceeding a few years ago when it was a bit in a more stale state. So I apologize for those who had papers submitted back then. But yeah, now I guess we kind of worked out and have a better turnover, and I hope that we can provide a smooth process. So until now we got about an 80-ish paper published, and there are currently 18 paper under review from I guess previous year submission. So the infrastructure, it's all automated, like on GitHub. So it's very the for those who are familiar with JOS, for example, we share the same framework. It's bot-based interaction with editorial bots. So basically, yeah, it's very guided process, and there's interaction with the bot, which kind of can generate checklists, reminders, etc. And show you a bit more afterwards. It's kind of an issue-based review. So if you go on once you submit something, it will open a first issue as a pre-review stage where all checks are done, reviewers are defined, and then we go, when this is all completed, manuscript is checked, that kind of it fits the scope and also technically kind of can compile online. The issue closes and one starts a review in a new issue. And then when everything is done, it gets published and reviews get closed. We tried to kind of combine all the important information in a proceeding guide that you can find on that link. And basically we have two paper types. So there's extended abstracts, so short paper. It's 2 pages, including references. It is very concise things. And most likely if you have a new package or something and you just want to quickly frame it, tell briefly what it does, and add some references. And then there's the full paper format, which is more like a paper where, one needs some more background, maybe also develop a bit on the statement of need and compare to other approaches and have some use cases. So it's more like a short full paper. We kind of try to lift, so the 2-page thing maybe a bit, well, we're not that strict, so I guess that's also fine if it's 2.5 pages. We figured out, and there might be some confusion online, so there's also no need for an extended statement of need. Well, it's kind of, one can make it obvious basically in the abstract or in the introduction, and that's it. That's sometimes a bit of confusion. So there's like, the submission process is like 3 phases. It's all on GitHub. So there's like pre-review, review, and publication. And yeah, so it's based on GitHub issue. We will try to check that the paper fits the scope. Then you should, as author, ensure that paper compiles with the editorial bot. Suggest reviewers. This is really, really, really important, because I mean, the more reviewer you suggest, or potential good reviewers or interested one, then we can really make the process go fast. If I have to find reviewers for a field I'm not aware of, it takes me a while. And then, yeah, we usually try to go with 2 reviewers. And then, yeah, reviewers' goal would be to give a brief but constructive critiques of the paper, of the code and the repository. And their good practices would be that, yeah, sorry, no, yeah, you can raise, sorry, make correction and fix bugs directly in the code or repository, and suggest improvement to the paper, for a paper. And then after the kind of revised submission, we'll check again everything, and then if it's formally ready for publication, then one should add the latest version of the code and DOIs, for example, from a Zenodo-like repository, and this will be included in the review process and also in the published paper. Yeah, and then maybe a few good practices that I share here, because this will be accessible potentially online, and that's like recurring themes. So yeah, it's really important that for the authors that the document you submit kind of compiles locally with the LaTeX tool that's suggested, and that you try to, well, follow up in a timely fashion, because yeah, it's very exhausting for everyone to run behind people, basically. And yeah, for a reviewer, like, it's very nicely generates a checklist, and you can really check to this, stick to this checklist. And yeah, kind of good thing is to post comments to improve the paper as comment on the GitHub issue for a review, and post fixes or things to improve the code directly on the code repository. And yeah, so I'm terminating with this. So some important dates. So submission for both JuliaCon Global and JuliaCon Local contribution 2025 will most likely open mid to end October. We'll make an announcement. Reviews will start, well, by the end of 2025. And most likely we will also announce the submission deadline, but that's when it's going to be about, yeah, you'll be able to submit up to March 2026. And soon we'll post, so we always need reviewer or reviewer pools or people that would be happy to help for revision, and you can, there will be soon a link on the Proceeding website where you can basically add your GitHub handle and your, I guess, name and field of, well, expertise, and then we can maybe match for some paper that where we miss reviewers. So yeah, I leave you with this information, and thank you for your attention.
Do you have a question? Okay.
Yes.
We will just, we have time just for one question, okay?
Thank you for a great talk. I was thinking about this review process. I've seen that many journals keep the peer reviewers anonymous, and the one who is submitting the manuscript has no control over who becomes the peer reviewer. And I just thought that if it might influence the independence and integrity of the peer review process if the author has such a both knows who is reviewing and also nominates the reviewer. So how do you ensure that this peer review is conducted fairly and respecting academic standards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I understood your question well, so you're questioning like versus the kind of open access style of the peer revision process in terms of one knows which are the reviewers are known. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, and I guess there's no ideal solution there. In some cases, it may be better to have anonymous, and in some cases not, and it's both have their caveats. In general, I guess since it's open source and it's more like short contribution, where it's not really about where it's more about technical development and maybe not too much about preaching, then it's maybe also more safe. But I agree. The thing is that it's on GitHub, and there it's a bit hard to, well, it would be technically not really possible to get like full anonymous review. I also feel like from being editor in another journal that having actually one of the good side of thing of having open access peer review and sometimes also more that the reviewers are known, it's kind of a bit more respectful and constructive process. But yeah, I agree there's like no single solution there.